Hey everyone, I'm Nathan, and welcome to my video about how to effectively mental rehearse. So what is mentally rehearsing? Well, it is quite literally what it sounds like. It's rehearsing things in your head, but there's a big problem with this, is that when we rehearse things in our head, sometimes either things will go really good or really bad. And that could also tie into what we call catastrophizing, which is where, each time you think about something and you keep thinking on and on and on, it leads to the very bad, the very worst thing possible, which is that's whatever people interpret it themselves to be. But we're going to be talking about how to mentally rehearse so you cannot do that, so you can avoid catastrophizing. So when you get into a scenario that you fear that you're going to worry in, you'll know how to navigate through it. So how do we do this? Well, first we need to describe what you will feel like in a certain scenario. So whatever's making you anxious, let's just say, I'll use an example. Someone's going to the theme park with their friends, but they're afraid of roller coasters. That's an easy one. So they're worried about the coasters. That's where their fear is, that in their mind the whole time, they're going to be worried about the roller coasters and they're not going to be in real life with their friends having fun. So if that's what they're worried about, that's the first description is you have to figure out, okay, if you can pinpoint what you're trying to stop. So you're trying to stop, the mind wandering and the fear during the trip. So then after you described actually what feeling you're trying to pinpoint, you have to decide how you're going to act. So based off of what you've already been given, so you're afraid of roller coasters, and let's just say, I don't know, maybe your friend's going to be out of town the next few weeks, so you know that you're not going to see them too. So it could be a hard decision either way. But you'd have to make a decision where you want to actually go with them, knowing that you will have that possibility to be scared, or you could decide to be avoidant, just don't go, be complacent, stay home. It always works, but if you're avoidant too many times, sometimes that can be problematic in and of itself. So after you decide, and this is all mental too, I forgot to say, most of it is also going on in your head. So then you kind of have to, the final one, or this is a hard one, you have to imagine yourself. And that might sound silly. What do you mean imagine? Well, imagine yourself in that worst scenario possible that you're trying to avoid. Now, it probably does make it worse by just saying to imagine yourself in it, but also imagine what skills would work in this situation. Like if you were super anxious, what would you do to calm yourself down and help yourself? It's better to try to think of these beforehand than scramble to get answers when we are actually feeling really bad. So, and also take notice of what skills do work and don't work. Because different coping skills or different therapeutic skills work for some people, but some don't for others. So it's good to pinpoint, okay, what does work and what doesn't work. So after you did the hard lifting part, which is the imagining, really, it's all easy from there, because all you do is now you get to relax, yay, and then rehearse. Now I have to think, what rehearse? Well, if you want to rehearse it in your mind, a lot of it is you want to do it over and over to kind of stick that pattern, because that's the way we learn. We can't just do something once to master it. So after you kind of rehearsed that, like the actual outcome, not like the catastrophe version where something all goes wrong, but if you rehearse it enough times in your head where it'll go right, slowly over time you'll feel better about it. And a lot of times that feeling, that confidence boost, is what helps us get through the actual event that we're scared about in the first place. And so that's the first part. Got that. And now just a few things just regarding it. A few more important things. Avoiding. This one is very hard, especially if you're like me, where you're avoidant by personality. It can be hard to just step out and be in the light, or just, go out. But just not being as avoidant, doing more things, You know, whether it's something that you're scared other people are going to look at you or you're scared you're going to judge yourself, just avoiding things generally helps the cycle in a bad way. It doesn't help the cycle in a good way. But if you were to kind of do something to not avoid, then you're breaking the cycle in a good way. And then number 2 is just like, what's important to you. So if you're like struggling or you're depressed and you really can't find anything, first you gotta find out what's important. And then that's when you want to figure out, okay, what can I work on? And then how can I continue? This is just kind of moving forward after the whole mentally reversing thing. So if you do figure out like what you want in your mind, you know, you gotta not be avoidant, you figure out what's important to you, figure out what you can work on, like what's in your reach. Like sometimes if people have a dream to be, I don't know, like a doctor, it's gonna be kind of hard to just sit in your own room and then get an entire medical degree. So you kind of have to figure out, okay, what can I do now to help me get a doctorate degree? So maybe you can just start off like by researching different schools to go to, or even just scheduling. And then 4, how can I continue? It's all about how do you maintain that sense of working and that accomplishment and the good cycle. How can you maintain the good cycle, basically? Thank you for watching my video. I'd love to hear your input for the comments, or if you have anything you want to say. I'm here to help all you, and hope to see you in a future video. Goodbye.